Have you ever felt scared of your desire? Maybe it's a career path that feels a little bit taboo, or a way of presenting yourself, whether through fashion or just how you act and behave, that has you convinced that you're going to get kicked out of the tribe. Whatever it is, I'm here to tell you that your desire is not the thing. Have you ever felt scared of your desire? Maybe it's a career path that you want to go down that feels a little bit taboo, or a way of presenting yourself through fashion, or just how you behave, or even the types of people that you want to surround yourself with. Something that has you convinced that if you go down this path, you're going to get kicked out of the tribe. Whatever it is, I'm here to tell you that your desires are not dangerous. Your desires are what's going to take you closer and closer to God, to Divinity, to Hekate. Wonder how? Let's go. Hello, lovelies. Welcome back to Squeaky's Cauldron, or welcome if this is your first time here. I am your host, Sarah Evergreen. I am a coach specializing in shadow work, inner child work, boundaries, and working with deities, specifically Hekate and Lilith. Thank you so much for being here. Today we are going to be talking about Hekate, continuing on in the Keys of Hekate series, and this key is the key of desire, which unlocks the gate of stagnation. As always, I like to open up these episodes on Hekate with a prayer, so if you are interested in joining along with the prayer, go ahead and find yourself in a comfortable spot. However, if this is not something in your wheelhouse, just go ahead and skip ahead about a minute and a half, and we will see you on the other side. Thank you. Okay, if you are joining me, if it's safe for you, go ahead and close your eyes or soften your focus and open yourself up to the energy of this prayer. Hail Hekate, Queen of Witches, our journeys are so blessed. Each key you grant us unlocks great power. Grateful we are for all your keys. The key of connection, which reminds us we are not alone. The key of solitude, in which we may come home to ourselves. The key of acceptance for that which we cannot change. The key of courage to face and overcome adversity. The key of desire, which brings us closer to you. The key of vision, so that we might move freely. The key of honesty, which brings us peace. The key of curiosity, so that we might live lives of truth and joy. And the key of devotion. Hekate, I live my life in service to you. Guide me. Make me ready. Illuminate my next right steps. Help me to see more clearly and align more fully with my highest purpose and my highest self, so that I might better serve you, serve myself, and serve those around me. Aho. Okay. Thank you for joining in if you did, and thank you for honoring your boundaries if you did not. Now, on to the key of desire, which, as I said, unlocks the gate of stagnation. So first off, what do I mean by the gate of stagnation? This is the place where we find ourselves just that, stagnating, stuck, feeling like there's nothing fresh or new. And so often this is because we are towing other people's lines. We are falling into a box that fits someone else's idea of what our lives are supposed to be. And as a consequence, we deny the desires that we have for ourselves. Many of us are taught in childhood, especially women, but this is across the board, that our desires are dangerous. That when we want something, that means that we are going to hurt someone else. And while you cannot escape the inevitability of hurting people, because we are human and that's just, it goes along with the territory, this idea that you are dangerous because you want something different than someone else does is a means of control. Very often, this is put into place by people who are looking for a way to keep themselves more comfortable based on you being smaller, being different, being something that they think that they need you to be. This is Fifi. Hello. I'm on the floor today because I am traveling to Spain tomorrow, and I wanted to make sure I got this video out. So I haven't had as much opportunity to have the normal setup that I do. And so that means that we'll probably be joined by cats here and there. The Gate of Stagnation can feel like your skin is too small. Like there's an actual shrinking of the skin, and it's from being put in a box that just doesn't fit. And so your spiritual skin is chafing against those sides all of the time. It can also feel like a tightness in your belly or your chest from holding yourself back, not expressing yourself, not even allowing yourself to look at these things that might come off as something that challenges the status quo. It can also manifest as jealousy. Jealousy towards people who are doing something more like what you want to do, or an iteration of something that you want to do. And envy. Envy is distinct from jealousy in one very particular way, is that not only do you want to do what this other person is doing deep inside, but when it's expressed, it comes out as, I don't want that person to do that or have that or be that way. This is a very dangerous and toxic emotion because not only does it eat at you, it also poisons the well for you to relate to other people. The key of desire to unlock this gate of stagnation involves listening to your intuition. First and foremost, your intuition is going to tell you what the next right step is. It's going to pull you forward, and that pull is desire. I want to talk for a minute about this idea of your desires being dangerous and hurting people. For a long time, I had this story in my head that the things that I want to do just cause the people in my life, the people that I care about, pain. And in some ways, that was kind of true because I had surrounded myself with people who benefited from me behaving in a particular way that was in dissonance with what my soul wanted, with what my desires were. And so if I continued to behave in this way, then the people around me were relatively fine, but I was hurting. I was killing myself in very literal ways. I started getting very sick. When I started to change that behavior, when I started to actually go after what I wanted, it was, as Claire Pinkola Estes says in her book, Women Who Run with the Wolves, it was like a drowning woman gasping for air, and I would grab at anything that seemed like oxygen because I had been deprived of oxygen. I'd been depriving myself of oxygen and putting myself in situations that deprived me of oxygen for so long. And in this way, when those expressions of myself finally did start coming out, very often they were unhealthy, and they were a necessary bridge from one place to the other. And so when we do start to follow our desires, it can come out in this kind of big, wild, scary feeling, and sometimes in the moment, detrimental ways. But we need to have the courage, the key of courage, to face and overcome adversity, the courage to continue to move forward towards what our soul is asking for. And part of this is listening to your intuition and letting those pull you forward and continuing to trust your intuition as they move forward, even if in the moment it seems like things are getting worse rather than better. Because if you've been living a life that is small and does not truly belong to you, is not an expression of you, then when you start to break that apart, your life is going to fall apart to one degree or another. And that is necessary. And it will feel hard. It will feel difficult. Part of what I love so much about working with Hekate is that even in those moments, she is still with me. She is still holding her lantern up, guiding my way, helping me find strength and purpose, even in the moments of complete confusion and darkness and pain. She is still by my side. And if you choose to work with her, she will also be by your side, a constant companion. As you're moving with your intuition, it's important to remember that the hits of intuition that you get are the next steps. Generally speaking, they are only steps and not the destination. So I'll give you an example. When I was 21, I worked in a coffee shop. I met an amazing woman named Tejas. She was a dancer. She'd grown up half of her life in India and half of her life in the United States, just going back and forth. And the place that she lived in India was this interesting place called Oroville. That planted a seed in me that didn't get to sprout until I was going through my Saturn returns about 8 or 9 years later. And I finally got myself to India. And so much of my focus was on Oroville. I'd known that I needed to go to Oroville, and it was Oroville specifically that took me to India rather than a number of other places that I was considering going to get my yoga teacher training. So I went to I went to India first and did my teacher training, and then did a little bit of traveling around, and eventually made it to Oroville. When I got to Oroville, I was appalled. Say what you will about the community, but it just rubbed me exactly the wrong way for many, many reasons. And I can get into that maybe in a later video if y'all are interested. But suffice to say, it was not the place for me. However, my journey through India changed my fucking life, and I love India so much as a whole. It's a difficult country to be in, absolutely, but it was amazing. And the people I met there, the experiences that I had, the food that I ate, oh my God, so good. But I wouldn't have gone there had it not been for this first intuitive hit that I needed to go to Oroville. But Oroville ended up not being the destination. It ended up being like the hook that lured the fish in. When you're moving with your intuition, allow yourself to have this kind of loose grip about each hit that you get, because that might end up being the thing that moves you into the trajectory of the thing that's actually coming towards you. And the hit itself that you've gotten ends up not being in resonance with your soul, and being able to say, okay, but it moved me here and I can let go of that. I don't have to become attached to that. Because I could have very easily been like, oh my God, so Oroville's not this, so my entire trip to India was wasted? Like, what am I doing even? No. My trip to India was exactly what it needed to be, when it needed to be, and I don't regret anything. I don't regret going to Oroville either, because I needed to have the experience of satisfying that hit in order to in order to not have that question mark hanging over me. How does Hekate figure into all of this from my perspective? Hekate is the Queen of Witches. I say this in the opening prayer, Hail Hekate, Queen of Witches. What is a witch? A witch is someone who manipulates the energy around them to manifest something in this world, whether that's a physical something or a metaphysical something. It is someone who is working with the energy around them to create something new. Now, how does a witch know what they want to create? Desire. That's plain and simple. It's desire. I desire to have a better relationship with my shadow. Okay, I'm going to do shadow work. I desire to have a better job. Okay, I'm going to do a spell to attract a better job. I desire to love myself more. Great, I'm gonna wear a quartz crystal or a rose quartz and like douse myself in rose oil. Whatever it is, it originates first and foremost as a desire. And from my perspective, those desires are placed there by spirit. Your desires are placed in your body, in your soul, in your longing by spirit. Your core desires, those desires that are not about wanting the newest jeans or something else that's been like plugged in there by the media. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, fuck, I have this deep yearning to become an attorney, or I need to go to Oroville, or it's something like this. And when you follow through on your desires, your energetic flow begins to open up more and more because you are listening to your intuition. And the more you practice and listen to your intuition, the louder your intuition gets. The louder your intuition gets, the easier it is to practice and listen to it, and so on and so forth. This opening of your energetic channel also means that you are more open to messages from Hekate herself and from spirit at large. So let me know in the comments, what is one desire that you have right now that feels all sorts of taboo, but also lights you the fuck up when you think about it? Let me know. If you're enjoying this episode, please do me a favor and drop me a like below. It really helps out the channel and it helps me out. It helps get this out to more eyes and ears across the platform. Also, if this is your first time here and you haven't subscribed yet, or this is your 5th time here and you haven't subscribed yet, this is your opportunity. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure to click the notification bell so that you don't miss any future awesome episodes. Lastly, please do comment on these videos, like if you feel moved to, obviously. I so much enjoy the comments that I've been getting. You guys are so, you guys are just so fucking cool. I can't even believe it. Like, the number of amazing, thought out, vulnerable, and really supportive comments that I get on this channel blows my mind. Like, especially when I compare it to the number of shitty comments that I get. Like, it's such a small percentage compared to all the love and beauty that you guys are bringing. So, like, keep it coming. I love it. And yeah, love to hear from you. Your mundane practice for working with the key of desire to unlock the gate of stagnation is to pay attention to your intuition. More specifically, pay attention to your intuitive hits for 1 week. Put a container around it so it doesn't feel like this big unwieldy thing. Just 1 week. And you'll notice that by the end of the week, especially if you are diligent in recording as much as you can, that they'll start to get stronger, louder. You'll start to notice them more. The hits that I'm talking about specifically around the gate of stagnation, so that you can see kind of how that is structured in your life, is to pay attention to when you feel jealousy, pay attention to when you feel envy, and then looking at the key of desire specifically, pay attention to when you feel attraction, and pay attention to any moment when you start to feel tears right behind your eye, or you start to have like an uncontrollable like laugh coming up out of your throat. Those are super, super potent flags, we'll say, or markers of your soul being activated by something. And then see what was going on around that thing. What were you talking about? What were you thinking about? What were you looking at? And what about these things do you want more of in your life? Allow yourself to be honest and very specific. This is just for you, and this is just for data collection. So you can start to see how these things are shaped. And then you're going to want to choose 1 or 2 of these things that you've divined through paying attention to your emotional hits. and take them into the magical practice coming up in just a moment. Before we get to that, I just wanted to say, if you are interested in working with me one-on-one to improve your boundary practice, to explore shadow work or inner child work, or to go deeper with Hekate or Lilith, please let me know. Check out the coaching links in my description. I do one-on-one coaching. You can schedule a free 20-minute discovery call just for a nice vibe check to see how we might be able to work together. And I'm also offering custom meditations for y'all now. So if that is something that you are interested in, again, the link is in the description. For this magical practice, I call it Safety in Desire. And it is a way of helping to build that sense of safety around having those desires, which is really important when we've been told over and over again that having desires and going after our desires means that we become unsafe for the people around us. You will need a nice cup of tea, something cozy, some comfy clothes, gentle music, something nice smelling like a candle or incense. You're trying to create a cozy sense of safety in the environment itself for this spell. You'll want a clean space, maybe something with a nice view or a piece of art, something that you can look at. And this is engaging all of the different senses to create that sense of safety. You'll also want a pink candle, a candle holder for your candle, match or lighters, some way to make flame, a pin or a small knife, so you'll be carving on the candle, and something to cleanse the candle and pin with. If you are interested, you can check out the video that I have about different cleansing techniques. If you don't want to use incense or anything, there's lots of other ways that you can cleanse your tools. So to start, you'll open your space, cleanse ground center, and then if it's in your practice, open a circle. And then you'll invoke Hekate, asking her to bring her lantern in to guide you through the darkness, through the fog of unease that you might feel around expressing and exploring your desires. And you'll cleanse your candle and your pin, or whatever you're using to carve on your candle. And then carve 1 or 2 words into the candle that signifies your desire, taken from the mundane exercise. As you're doing this, I want you to be very aware of your body and your thoughts. Take note of any physiological sensations that come up. Do you feel weird in your belly? Do you get tighter? Do you have stories that come up around what this word means or what this desire could mean for you? And if it starts to get to be a lot, pause and remind yourself that you are safe. You can do this verbally, saying out loud, I am safe, I am protected. And you can also do this physically by giving yourself little hugs or doing tapping on each shoulder. There are various ways that you can kind of help the nervous system settle back down so that, again, so the energy can flow more freely. One of these includes taking a look at all of the different cozy things that you've brought into this space with you and allowing yourself to connect with those things, with your different senses, with the vision, with the touch, with the smell, with the taste, like having a little bit of nice chocolate, should have mentioned that, would be a very good thing to have during this ritual as well. And then when you're done carving your word into the candle, you're going to charge it by putting it in your right hand and envisioning all the energy that's wrapped up around your desire moving into that candle until you feel like it's got a nice, good charge on it. And then you'll light it. And as you are sitting with yourself, with the candle burning, just allow whatever feelings are coming up to arise. Again, if something sticky or hard comes up, what's up? Can you jump? Again, if anything sticky or hard comes up, remind yourself that you're safe. Give yourself a little hug, a pat on the back, maybe even kiss your hand if that feels good. Like, that can be a nice way to remind yourself that you're loved. Whatever it is for you, a little foot rub or a hand massage, let yourself go into that space. and bring your nervous system back into alignment. This is a reminder to yourself that it is safe to desire things, that your desires are safe. They're not a source of danger for yourself or for anyone else. They very often are a source of change, but that is not danger in and of itself, even though it can feel very scary. 2, while you're doing this, ask Hekate for reassurance. Ask her for help. Talk to her as you're moving through all these things. Tell her what's coming up and ask her to give you whatever you need in that moment. She wants you to have what you want. Spirit wants you to have your desires because that brings you closer to Spirit, brings you closer to Hekate. As the candle is burning down, take some time to envision your resistance to your desire melting and disappearing, evaporating, just as the wax of the candle is doing. This is unveiling a truer, more vital layer of you to the world, which we so desperately need right now. We need people to be deeply and beautifully and comfortably in themselves and in their power and in their desire. If I had ignored my desire to start a podcast, I wouldn't be here talking to you. My life would be not as good, and I would like to think that my words and my being here is helping people out there too, is helping you to maybe move a little bit closer to your truer self. When your candle is all burnt out, remember to thank Hekate and then close your circle, and your magic practice is complete. Carry around this sense of safety with you, and whenever something comes up that challenges it, remember this ritual that you've done. Remember that Hekate is with you, supporting you in moving step by step, not from step A to step Z, but step by step towards those desires. And you can do this. You can realize those. And sometimes it takes a lot of time, and sometimes it takes a lot of really difficult decisions. And you're worth it, and your desires are worth it. So many of us are taught from a young age that our desires make us bad or unlovable, that they make us dangerous. Hekate wants you to know that the opposite of that is true. Your desires are a part of you and are in you for a reason. And it is those desires that will guide you to showing up as a beacon in this world for the rest of us. My next video is going to be on existential kink. It's a way of working with shadow that is going to take looking at your taboo life way deeper. So be sure to stick around for that. And if you want to go deeper with this particular key of desire from Hekate, do check out this meditation. And yeah, I will see you on the other side. Take care of yourselves, and as always, use your voice.